Pinfield. It's called In a Lonely Place. And because we're all separated from each other, social distancing, and I am definitely alone, and I decided to actually name this show after a song that I loved so much from a band that I was friends with, like from my teens, called the Smithereens, and you might remember them from their hits like A Girl Like You and Blood and Roses. And, they were, my friends, and Pat died a few years ago, Pat Denizio. But I thought the song was really brilliant because Pat took the dialogue from the Humphrey Bogart movie In a Lonely Place from 1950, and he literally like made that the chorus. And he did a duet with Suzanne Vega, and it was super cool. And we were all just young kids, when we were all hanging out in the early days, So, it made me, very proud when they broke and they did so well. And I thought about this being by myself, and I thought this was the song that I would name this show after. I know a lot of you are going through some serious rough times. I'm separated from my children, my family, my mother. I'm very, very far away from them, and I love them so much. And I'm being strong for my family, and I just know that like in these times, like we gotta like stick together and stay strong, man, and so what I'm doing is I'm doing this show because I'm so excited about it. It's called In a Lonely Place, and I'm asking my friends to come on and talk to me about their favorite music and how they're getting through this, because we're all isolated, and it's the most important thing. My old sponsor died yesterday. It was the fucking horrible news. I mean, I knew on Friday that he was really sick, but I got the call yesterday from Steve Leeds, a guy I love. He works at Sirius XM. He's like one of the heads of talent, and he and I like have this incredible history. But Neil was this guy, was a DJ in radio, which is like close to my heart. And then he was a radio promotion guy, and he got sober and he helped a lot of people out. Like he ran the sober room at the Grammys. He worked with Music Cares, who this is what we're doing here. That's what it's about. Like you'll see there's a button, right there on the screen, if you want to donate. Listen, I know many of you don't know where your next paycheck's coming from. And it's just cool that you're here with us and that I can hang with you and entertain you for an hour. So the point is, I want to thank Kerry Brown, Linda Perry, Chris Trevero, Aaron, Nate, and all the people from We Are Here. But most importantly, like I'm excited because one of my very, very great friends is Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. I love him, like just been a brother for so long, So we're going to talk about our favorite records, and we're also going to talk about like how we're dealing with this right now. So like here with Jacoby. Jacoby, what's up, brother?
What's up, man? How are you doing, man?
Yeah, dude, all right, man. Like my old sponsor died yesterday. It was fucking really hard for me, but I'm fucking feeling like I gotta be strong for my brothers. My mom's 87, like my brother's got Parkinson's. It's like, I mean, I want to stay strong for them,
Yeah,
they need me now more than ever, man, and but I want to just say thank you for coming on, because your spirit and your love, man, and like you've overcome so much and killing it just means so much to me, and so how you like, let's talk about like how things are at home during this pandemic.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on this show, and I totally dig the purpose of what Music Cares is about, and I love you, and it's always good to get on the phone. I mean, I remember the last time we chatted, it was like an hour and a half just going back and forth talking about family and music.
And I took for an hour half, like right before the show, I got on the phone, man, and just talked about life, which was, it's what we do, right?
Yeah, man. And it's great to be able to have people like you in my life, to be honest. Other men that are, living the sober life and trying to dig down to the best version of themselves. It's like when we got two people like-minded, and we sharpen each other, and we got a lot of the same loves, obviously, music and family. And so, yeah, man, I'm stoked to be here, dude. I'm cooped up in the house. I got a lot of energy. And
dude, you and I are like Energizer Bunny guys, man.
Yeah, very much so.
It's hard. Like guys like you and I, it's got to be the hardest. Glad you're with your family, and I've been going over and staying with Jay Baumgartner, your producer of Infest,
yeah,
because he's got that big house. So like I go over there and stay in half of it when I feel like I'm going to go. One flew over the cuckoo's nest, but I'm actually fine, man. And Jacoby, we got to talk about just the fact that one of my favorite moments was meeting you the first time. I was shooting for Farm Club with Korn in Detroit. All right. And at the Palace, in Auburn Hills. And you guys were playing, and I found out you were playing, and I was like, I gotta fucking get over there, man. And I came just as your show was ending, right? But that was how we remember that.
I remember that night specifically. I'll give you my perspective on that night, right? So we're out on tour. Last Resort is just kind of starting to get some airplay, or it's starting to crack off pretty decently. We're doing a headlining tour. We have Taproot out opening with us, and I know that obviously Korn was playing in town, so I was like, you know what, we're gonna go over there earlier and go watch. No, it was the day before. I can't remember. All right, so I remember going up and watching Korn from the nosebleed seats because we were like, hey, can we get some tickets? They're like, yeah, you guys can have some tickets in the nosebleeds. We're like, cool. Show was great. We get back, we play our set after Korn, and we're getting done, and we wrap up, and somebody comes and grabs me. One of our tour managers like, hey, man, Matt Pinfield's in the house. He wants to meet you. And I'm like, Matt Pinfield, are you for real? And, because I grew up, you were an iconic face of rock music in my teenage life. And so I was just like, kind of taken back and beside myself. And I remember we hooked up that night and had some laughs and just connected. And I mean, we've been friends off since then. So it was what a cool moment for me to be able to have that experience with you, man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Jacoby, it's amazing because you look back at Infest and when you guys started and how that affected people like all over the world. It's funny. I was at drummer Dave Buckner's house, and I saw from some country there are like a million gold records, but this one had roaches on it. It was insane.
Bro, I got that one. I got it hanging downstairs in my little nook where I eat my breakfast.
Yeah,
that's where I got that shit hung up, dude. That exact plaque.
It's like the wood thing, right?
It's like wood slats. It looks like cockroaches just climbing all over it, and it looks like there's mold on it.
Is that Germany or somewhere, or where was that?
Yeah, the Germans. They come with very creative ideas.
There you go. Anyway, man, I gotta tell you, the amazing thing is, there's only so many bands who survive and keep thriving through so many periods. And the beautiful thing is you've continued to work on keeping your spirit or reinventing yourself. So all the records, Getting Away with Murder was fucking great. That song was just so genius. But one of my favorite songs that you ever wrote is To Be Loved.
Oh, man, what's up?
I love that song, man. It was, my treadmill fucking, I'd listen to the tune. I got a jet black heart. I'm all fucked up. That was the fucking, it was just badass. And I love that record, man. But I've loved so much. Like even when I was in San Francisco and you had different interview, Crooked Teeth. I was listening to Help fucked, like was so good, man. Like I all I'm saying is I really related to so many of your songs, man, and yeah, I got the title.
I appreciate that.
But it is funny that we're gonna talk about With Teeth in a little bit, but
yeah, right.
Jacoby, talk to me about, like, for you, there's been quite a few changes, but you and I have fucking come back from some, like a lot of things in our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, my head going through a windshield and flying 15 feet in the air, and
yes,
and some of the other stuff that we've done to ourselves is pretty equal. But at the same time, we gotta stay in inspiration, man. And you, like, here's what I want to talk about. Like, I want to talk about how you started the band and what drove you to start the band. When you were writing those songs for Infest, I heard stories about you where you would, like, which I thought was so cool, because you would just do insane things on stage just to, like, get a rise out of people. Like, put your God, you just almost Peter Gabriel and Genesis back in the 70s. Like, you got to walk on with some fucking crazy shit. Tell me about that.
Yeah, man. So, like, back in the day, I remember this one time, we were opening shows in Sacramento. We started doing shows out there, and I remember I had this painting, and it was this woman's head, and I was like, well, what if I cut her face out, and then I'm going to put my face through the painting, and then I'm going to throw broccoli at the crowd, like pounds and pounds and pounds of broccoli at the crowd. And my band is like, they're like, why? And I'm like, you know what? Because fucking why not? And it was like my answer for everything, dude. I was like, well, why not? And so, we cut our teeth as an independent band back in the day, and going to, like, watch Deftones and stuff like that, and see those bands coming up, or go see Green Day at Berkeley Square, or Gilman as well. They were the local bands of the area that I was living, because I lived in Vacaville, small town in between Sacramento and San Francisco.
Yeah,
and so we got to go to both scenes and kind of dip into them. And Vacaville, there wasn't nothing going on, and this music was an opportunity for us to, like, create a scene, create a culture, because we had nothing. And so we started that, and that was in 1993, and we played every type of venue. I mean, to be completely honest, we played coffee shops where we're just on the floor with the crowd, like mosh pit going on right in front of us, people bumping into me, bloodying up my lip, chipping my teeth, and then we started playing in Vacaville at the teen center. And then I was too young at one point where we couldn't play the bars, so we'd have to, like, wait outside this place called Cheers back in the day, and then load in, perform, and then get the fuck out.
Dude, what's crazy? I gotta tell you, I don't want to interrupt you, but
it's all good.
I went with the guy Andy Schoen, who hired me at MTV. We were doing a thing for, like, Nevada, for their Vegas, the governor's tourism summit, and so we got invited by Wayne Newton to go hang and watch his show, and he was the coolest guy, like the nicest dude ever. And then when I found out he was, like, performing in casinos at 15 years old, but waiting outside on the streets with the prostitutes, I was like,
oh, yeah,
that guy's cool and fucking, like, it was just great. He
took his lumps.
Yeah, man, he did. He's got great stories. But so that was you, like, like, that was the deal, right? And
yeah, man.
So when did you, Dave and the guys, name the band Papa Roach? Because that's like it's a cool name, man. And it's all
So 93, that was when the band was formed, and Dave and I, we met on the football field, and we had a common love for music, and so we had a passion
like
for it.
Football together?
Sorry?
You guys were in high school football together?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's great.
Yeah, man.
What thing that linked you that you knew What was the band or like that thing that like you were like, wow, man, you love that too? What was it?
At that time, it was White Zombie, and what's the album name? Thunder Kiss.
The one with Thunder Kiss, like Le Sex Pisto, or it was the one before it. What's wrong with my brain today? You know,
oh man. Or it was either that record or the Blood Sugar Sex Magic record by the Chili Peppers,
which is one of the greatest records of all.
Yeah, which is like, you know, and so we had this common love. Also, Suicidal Tendencies. That was another one for us that we bonded over. And he had grown up in Venice, and so his aunt and his uncles, they were all going to the Suicidal Tendency shows back in the day. And so he was telling me stories about growing up in that area, and I was just fascinated with that. And you know, so we started hooking up, and I actually played drums as well as Dave. And so we were like, well, let's hook up. And
all great frontmen play drums first. Right?
Somehow, right? And
I mean, Steven Tyler, you know, like everybody, you know, you know, it's funny when they drummer first, you know. Dave Grohl.
Yeah, so I was a drummer. We connected and we put our drum sets together and would jam. So we'd have more toms, more drums. And he was just better than I was. And I was like, well, damn, dude, what's up? Like, you're dope at the drums. Like, maybe I'll get a bass, dude, and I'll just like slap the bass or just get weird, you know? And so I got a bass guitar. So, and we weren't Papa Roach at this time. We were just like making noise in a garage. And so after that, I had this bass guitar and we were jamming for a while. And then I was at work one day and my bass got stolen out of my truck. And I was just like, fuck, man, like, what gives, dude? Like, I want to play music with Dave. And so I asked D-Boy, I'm like, well, what should I do? He's like, well, fuck it, be a singer, dude. That shit's free. And so that's how I became a singer, dude. It was like, he was better at drums than I was. My bass got stolen. I didn't have the funds to go buy another one. And whoever stole my bass, thank you, because you changed the trajectory of my entire life.
Yeah, it's like here. And I hope it's working well for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, you know, it's crazy because you can imagine young people in America the minute they heard Last Resort, because it was like so powerful and just so in your face. You know, it was very fuck you, and you know what I mean?
Yep.
Which was very cool. And so it's amazing how, for me, like how you've rolled through so many periods of the band and still stayed together. And you know, you and I, we've been through some shit, man, you know, but we're still here. You know what I mean?
That's right, baby.
You know what I mean? And, so can you like tell me about like the different eras for you of the band, and like you know, is there a feeling like when you look back, like is there can you set, you know, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Most definitely. Like, so there was the independent phase, you know, where we were out there hustling, and we learned a lot from like the East Coast hip hop guys and the hip hop scene on the West Coast, where the dudes that have the boom boxes and they're selling their music for $5 to the people. So we started trolling all the lines like Deftones shows or Korn shows or whoever was coming through, Limp Bizkit. And we go sell our music to the people waiting in line to get into the show. So that kind of hard work ethic spilt over into us finally getting a record deal. And that was like the golden age, right? When we came with Last Resort and Infest, and we were selling millions and millions and millions of records, you know, and mind you, we got turned down by every record company in the business until DreamWorks finally picked us up, you know? So it wasn't like, oh, we just started a band and got a record deal. It was like a 7-year overnight success.
Isn't it amazing? Like I talked to my friend Ari, who is, you know, Bruno Mars co-songwriter, and he tells me the stories about like everybody told them that they were shit. And it's like, you got to fight through it, right? You know,
that's
like,
right, man. And we've been through that since, you know, like after we put that record out, then it was a really tough time for the band, because, you know, it was almost like not a dark age, but just like the landscape of music, popular music had changed, and nu metal was out. The garage rock bands, the garage rock revolution kind of came back, and it was like the Strokes, the Hives, the White Stripes.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of great iconic bands.
Great band. Yeah, I love
totally.
it.
Yeah. And so, you know, make room for the new. And so we had to like figure out how we were going to be able to cut through again. And Getting Away with Murder was that record. It was like the comeback record where, you know, against all odds, again, we release a record with a company that, you know, wasn't too sure about us. And then we sold 1.5 million records, which brought us to the Paramore Sessions, which is To Be Loved, which is on that track. And that was another really good run.
You just come out swinging on that song. It's such a track, you know? I mean, and which really is, you know, when you think about you as a performer, if you are a fan of rock, man, those 2 nights at the Roxy you did here in LA, they were just powerful. And you know, we make no apologies for loving rock and roll, man. That's our thing, you know, and it's what we do. It's who we are. So you've been able to hold on to a piece of everything that you've always done, but keep developing. Like last record, Who Do You Trust? Right?
Oh yeah, totally. And
that.
so just to kind of give you a little in between right there, right? So like Paramore Sessions, then Metamorphosis is where Tony. So, you know, all the while, right? Like on the outside, we're having this success, but internally, some of us, we were struggling just personally, all of us, you know, trying to find, we were all becoming fathers and all that stuff. And, you know, trying to balance this out. And then we ended up getting a new drummer, Tony Palermo, to come in because Dave was struggling. You know, it was tough for Dave for a while being on the road. And, you know, we all know it's like sobriety and being on the road. It's not
really hard, man.
It's hard, you know, and I've fallen many times, you know, because it's not the easiest route, you know. But so Tony came in and we did a bunch of supporting and you know, and kept continuing to develop our sound. And then for a little while, it was almost like we felt like we were kind of just floundering a little bit, you know, like we were still having success on mainstream rock radio, but we wanted to reinvent the band. And so we went in and after we did our album Fear, Face Everything and Rise with Kevin Churko, we were like, you know what, we want to make a change. We want to try a different producer and just see what fits. And so we started working with these 2 young guys, Colin Britton and Nick Furlong.
Yeah, I met those dudes like, you know, around, you know, at your first producer's house, Jay Baumgartner, who you love. He's our brother, right?
Most definitely, man. Much love, Jay.
Yeah, and those, you know, yeah, man. So it just, the records sound so good. But for me, it's like, it's a newfound life. Like the way you perform is just, I mean, I'm very proud of you and what you do. And I love those records. And I just
appreciate it, man.
And you know, it's amazing. You made changes without alienating your fan base, which is really, you know, because some people try to do something like totally away from everything, but there was enough of what you really do that was still there and is still there, you know?
Well, I feel it's important for, you know, for us as P Roach, like to always maintain a thread through these albums, and an album is like an ending point, and where are we picking up where we left off, and the thing that we've deduced our career down to is the thread of the purpose in the music and the emotional stories and thread line through, where it's like it's going from the darkness into the light. It's about, you know, from feeling so broken to having a sense of hope. You know, I think that duality and that transformation, transformation story is the thread that we've woven through all the albums. Musically, we've gone to a lot of different places, but this thread and this story and this connection that we've developed with our fans is, at this point, it's really powerful, man. I mean, it's like we've been able to celebrate our fans and be able to celebrate the overcoming some of our demons together as a fan base and as a rock and roll band. Yeah. And to me, that's like when you tap into having those commonalities between us and our people that love the music, that's where the true bonds have developed. And we're so grateful, you know, because I never intended that in the beginning. But it's funny, like as I follow the drive inside to get to the best version of myself, even though I fail miserably on the regular. It's that
man. But you know, progress is not perfection, right? You know.
Amen, baby.
But I just I love that you're representing, you know,
man.
And it's for me. Let's talk about the fact that, to me, and I talk to people that are your fans, and
yeah,
you look amazing, all right? Like, you know, like we both. It's funny for an old bastard that I look better than I've looked in a long time, right?
Hey, you're looking lean too, man. You're looking lean, which is good, man. That'll tack some years onto your life.
Yeah, which is really important. You know, but I want to say, like, are you right now? Are you working on some new tracks while you're like? How is the pandemic affecting you at home with your family, man? Like,
well, thank you very much for the kind comments. You know,
yeah.
But you know, as far as like being at home and what's going on here, I really have to be mindful of how much news I intake, how much other people's opinions I intake, and really just be mindful of how can I serve somebody else. And it's tough when you're in the isolation of your home. So it's really got me focused in on, like, all right, I got to be able to serve my family and be the best person I can be for them while I got this time. And it's a trip, because we were out on tour and we were having an ill tour. We were killing it in Europe, and the tour got cut short, and they were like, we got to go home to our families. And part of me was like, oh, I'm so bummed about this tour ending. But then I was like, oh, I get to go like spend time with my family, man. Like, this is kind of exciting, because I'm on the go a lot, right? And so this whole experience of kind of slowing down and really taking a long, hard look at just my life, where I've been, what's going on next with my family. My oldest son is going away to college next year. And, you know, so to be able to have this time where I'm confined in the house with my family, it's like, it's messed up and it's sad, the circumstances, and we're losing people. And that bums me out, but I'm trying to find the silver lining in it. And the silver lining is that I get to spend some more time with my family. I get to slow my whole pace of my life down and kind of try some new things. I've been doing some breathing exercises where it just, like, when I'm getting into like a fear, panic, aggressive, angry mode, I do these breathing exercises, bro. And it's like you know, when you do a hard reset on your cell phone because it's all acting ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like a hard reset for my soul power, dude. And
that's so great, man.
I've been doing
something, you know, and that's the thing that's so important, like the things that we have to do to keep ourselves, you know, sane through this. Mental health is such a really you know, a trying thing right now, but man, you know, we got to do it. So you know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to go through 7 of these records that you picked, because what I'm doing on the show is I want to keep it super positive, because man, what do you think I do at night? Like, I just get in a, you know, like I sit here and here's Tiny Music by STP, and here's ABC, and here's fucking Jackson Browne and Scott Walker.
Woo, baby. And
I listen to like everything from metal to like folk. I mean, I listen to, you know, like I'll sit there and just play records and just sing to myself. Songs that, like, you know, you love, like, you need those like a comfort songs right now, don't you? Like,
totally. You know, there's a record I've been jamming the last few days. That just makes me feel good, man. It just gives me that good time vibe. You remember G Love and the Special Sauce?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, he's such a cool dude. Philly boy.
Oh, man.
Here we go.
Oh,
you know,
dude, that's a good one right there.
You know, it's like, and the Rebel Yell. I mean, there's all kinds of shit. This floor, Thin Lizzy, is like you can't walk in my floor in my living room. The only thing I can do is do this.
I got a little something. I got this one right here.
About that record right now. Let's talk about your 7 albums that you picked. And Blood Sugar Sex Magic is truly one of the greatest records of the 90s, without a question, man. Like, I love that so much because it was a period when, you know, like Anthony decided to get in touch with not trying to hide what he was feeling. Like, so Breaking the Girl, I Could Have Lied, Under the Bridge, man. So tell me why you love the record. Because I love funky shit too, like Sir Psycho Sexy and
yeah, dude.
I mean, so it's like great, but tell me why you love it.
Chili Peppers, you know, one of my favorite bands as a kid and as an adult as well. And you know, like you said, for those reasons where it's like he started to open up and talk about his emotions and stuff like that. And it's trippy. Yeah, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, iconic freaking album. One of my favorite albums of all time, to be completely honest. And I remember watching a DVD called Funky Monks, and it was about the making. And I was just like, that is a dream to me. Like, I would love to be able to go hole up into a house.
Right. Right. Like,
yeah.
Dude, it was.
And so just about the record, man, it was like some of the grooves, it was like they kind of slowed down some of the grooves on this record. And, you know, from the beginning, I mean, the track, when I saw the video for Give It Away, like the first song that came out and they were all painted, and I was just like, oh my God, this is freaky, funky, off the wall, nutty. And then I got the record and then listened to the entire record, and just the bass lines, the beats. It's one of those records you can air drum to, you can dance to, you can fight to, you can make love to, you can cry to, you can laugh to. It's just one of those albums that just takes you on that myriad of emotions. And, you know, I just love the story of these guys. They've been to hell and back. And with this album, it was just like, it was a snapshot in time of like, from my eyes as a fan of the Chili Peppers, it was like, they were just firing on all cylinders on this record, regardless of where they each were personally, like going on in their lives or whatever. But they came together and made this one, and it just was like, you know, engineered by Brendan O'Brien, dude. That was the reason we worked with Brendan O'Brien, was because he engineered this record. I was like, oh my God, now he's producing. We got to work with him, you know?
I see Brendan pretty regularly. I mean, I love the guy. You know,
yeah, dude.
When he mixed the Limp Bizkit album, or I did that secret track on the end of it, like we did it in Southern Tracks in his studio.
Dude, we recorded at Southern Tracks, man.
You did, right? It was cool.
Yeah.
You know? And like, you know, he lives out here now, but you know, those STP records, man, just so fucking good. And
iconic, man. Great albums.
Yeah. So and Brendan just, you know, he's working with Springsteen, man. He did like that song Radio Nowhere was like,
oh yeah.
It was just like Vital, Rip Your Face Off, cool, Bruce angrier and just kind of going for it, you know? So, and, you know, I want to say, like, you know, before Mother's Milk, I did the last interview with Anthony and Hillel.
Oh, wow.
Before Hillel died.
Yeah.
They drove up in an RV to the radio station in New Jersey, and Flea was sleeping in the RV, and he came in like, kind of like just half awake, but it was
hair all mess probably.
Yeah, he's the best. You know, he's the best. But you know, it was talked to Anthony about it quite a few times, and you know, I'm trying to find if somebody has a copy of that interview, because Anthony said he really wants to hear that last
man,
before he died.
Dig for that one.
But you know, the change also brought like a new life to the band. And, you know, as sad as losing Hillel was, John Frusciante, man, you know, and like Mother's Milk, Knock Me Down was the first time they were being honest about life, you know, like it wasn't about killing coyotes and Under the Sun, man. And, you know, it was, you know, when you end a song and say, it's so lonely when you don't even know yourself.
Ooh, it's so lonely when you don't even know yourself.
It's so lonely.
Oh, man.
Best.
Oh, what a great one.
Knock Me Down is so fucking
Yeah.
great. And that was the bridge to Blood Sugar Sex Magic, man. You know? So I love that record. And
Yeah, dude.
you know, so and you know, they've always been, you know, just the nicest guys ever, man. You know, and through a lot of shit, as we always do. Hey, so my next question is, let's do the next oh. Anyway, sorry about that. Let's do the next record. You got, like, in my opinion, some incredible albums to talk about, which is so important to me. So we did Chili Peppers. What do you want to do next? Like, you want me to just put the? I mean, I don't know what's in your house. So I'll just
Hey,
put up
throw it on me, dude. What? You got
All
the
right.
list.
All right, Kerry Brown, my brother, who is you know, working with me on this. Kerry, what is you want to do? Refused this shape punk to come.
Oh, dude.
It's such a great fucking record, right, man?
Dude, I'm telling you.
Talk about how you love it.
There's albums that come along in your life that you don't even know you're looking for. And when you stumble across it, it's like, oh my God, I just found the gold mine. And this album, The Shape of Punk to Come, was that. I remember the first time I heard any of their music, I was in at NRG Studios, and we had MTV rolling, and this video for this band came up, and it was Refused, The Shape of Punk to Come, and I was just like, somebody in the band was like, dude, you got to get in here and check this out.
I'm guessing, right?
What's that?
It was probably 20 minutes, I'm guessing, right?
It probably was. You're right.
Or, you know, maybe even Headbangers. I mean, I'm not sure, but it was like, you know, those guys were just so cool. Dude. There was a great edge to what they were doing on that record, man. Like New Noise.
Just to like get into it, it's like, obviously they're from Sweden, so they have a totally different perspective on music, on art, on culture, on politics, on everything. And so they made this record that spoke to me musically, sonically, image-wise. You know, just they were punk as fuck, but they were like dapper punk, and that was different to me. And just the riffs were just so heavy and pummeling. And, you know, when he's breaking down the lyrics and like the blows that he was taking at capitalism and the greed and the system, it really spoke to me, because I was at a point in my life where I was really like defining who I was and what my beliefs were as a human and as a creator. And, you know, The Shape of Punk to Come was just one of those records. Just, it leveled everything that I knew or thought about music and life, to be honest. And it was like, I was just like this kid that was like, bopping around, you know, not to discredit Chili Peppers, right? Because the Chili Peppers are sick as fuck, and I love their riffs, but it's a little bit more lighthearted than this like violent overthrow of music that the Refused was.
Absolutely, man. You know,
and man,
you know, and it was just it was a really important record in every way, like in so many ways. And, you know, International Noise Conspiracy stuff was cool too, but
oh yeah,
I love that. But the Refused record was great. You know, it was a friend of ours' birthday, like either yesterday or the day before. One of my ex-girlfriends texted me and said it's Mike Ness's birthday. You know?
Oh, so, really?
Yeah. So yeah, and you know, we love Mike, man. And you know, so one of your favorite albums is Social Distortion, White Heat, White Light, White Trash. And I love the fact, there it is, man. Oh, Jacoby, I'm so glad you have the vinyl there, man. And you know, I love the fact that it's a nod to the Velvet Underground and Lou Reed. At the same time, it's a punk, you know, classic. I mean, to me, that band has never lost their edge, man. You know, like Mike just got that thing. You know what I mean? Where he's coming from the heart. And Mike, you know, that song that I Was Wrong on that album is just one of my favorites, you know, in their catalog. So tell me why you love the album now that I told you why I do.
Dude, I mean, obviously, like one of my favorite punk bands, Social Distortion. My friend Kyle Satchwell took me on my 18th birthday to go see them at Slim's in San Francisco.
Holy
And
shit.
I was right up on the front row, just with my chest to the stage. And, you know, I could just touch Mike Ness's feet from where I was, you know. I didn't, because I didn't want to get kicked in the face, because you don't fuck with Mike Ness, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah. He's one of the, I'm sure since then you've met him. He's really one of the nice guys, man.
I've never met him, man. He's
I'll
actually
call him and tell him like you did this and to look at it.
man, he's one of my favorite storytellers when it comes to lyrics, and the way that he was very influential in the way that I approached how I would tell a story. That was inspiring to me. And you know, this album in particular, Chuck Biscuits has joined in for this record. Yeah. I believe it was the first Social D record that Chuck Biscuits was on. Yeah. And just the way that Chuck Biscuits approached the drums, I feel like it influenced the music like in a major way, you know. And it was just like, he just really had this hard, aggressive, like
he snapped on like the whole field, right?
Yeah, fucking lays it down on this record. And from the moment I heard the song Dear Lover, I was just like, oh. And it just, this album spoke to my heart all the way, you know, Down on the World Again, another one of those songs. Pleasure Seeker is another one of those that's just like, and at the time, when I fell in love with this record, I was all over the map, drinking, drugging, going crazy. And but this is a record for Mike where he was sober. And this record, I was like one of my favorite records when I was out there going like a maniac, but it spoke to me in such a different way after I got sober. I listened to the album with like a new set of ears, and I heard so much more different depth to this album that it was like, this is one of the albums that like when I'm struggling in my sobriety, like this is an album that it speaks to my heart again, you know, and it cuts through the insanity. And just what a great, this is a prized possession right here. This is a great piece of music, just from end to end.
Yeah, man, Jacoby, that's amazing. It's an incredible record, you know. And Mike's such a good man. That guy's got one of the biggest hearts in the world too, man. He's like us. He's like, he's just like he's a good guy, man. He does a lot for people, you know, and he's made it very clear that, you know, he's been sober for a long time, man. And he just for me, like all those records are great, you know. And I remember, you know, I'd gone through a breakup, but the girlfriend I was with called me and asked me if I could get her on the list for the anniversary of the self-titled album. And, you know, I'm like, you know, and you know, I'm super nice, maybe too nice sometimes.
Hold on, you didn't tell her to kick rocks, Matt?
Yeah, I fucking got her tickets, man.
Oh man,
which is ridiculous. But I called Mike. I was in Newark, New Jersey, at a Portuguese restaurant, and I go, yeah, my ex-girlfriend is who he had met before. You know, he had met her with me, like. And I go, she wants to come to the show. And I go, he goes to me, well, you know, man, you were a big part of this record. So thank you for that. And I'm, you know, with the self-titled first epic record with Ball and Chain and Story of My Life. Mm-hmm. And I was, man, I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. I'm like, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not that much of a pushover, but that's pretty funny though, right?
Yeah.
But I remember it, you know, and he's one of those guys, man, who walks it like he talks it. So what record you want to do next, my brother?
Oh, dude, we could just, hey, let's change gears totally, dude. I want to go with this right here. Wu-Tang, Into the 36 Chambers.
What a great fucking album that is, man.
Oh, man. I remember dropping acid and freaking out on this record, man. This was like one of my albums. I was like, you know, I just moved out of my house. I was like 17 years old or 17 years old when I moved out. I think 18 when I discovered this album, or I don't know. It just was one of these albums that just, I love that, you know, 9 dudes, they all had AKAs. They all had this Kung Fu persona. You didn't know who they were. right? Look at that. You're
Yeah.
like, who's the Wu-Tang?
These dudes, right? Exactly.
It was so mysterious and so different. And you know, I love West Coast hip hop, but for some reason, just the griminess and dirt nastiness of East Coast hip hop, I preferred it. You know, that was where that's the hip hop that I fell in love with as a kid. And Wu-Tang was that group for me that just the personalities,
man, like Method, Old Dirty Bastard, like all the guys, man.
Oh man. Oh, Dirty Bastard. Oh man. Oh, Dirty man. Oh
yeah.
Rest in peace. I had the pleasure of meeting Old Dirty Bastard once.
And I met his son recently. Like when they did they were on tour, they played Kaboo. I interviewed the guys.
And Are you serious?
Yeah, and RZA was like, dude, remember when you and I used to go to the fucking Thai restaurant on fucking 50th Street? So we lived in the same building for a month, me and RZA. So we would like sneak out and eat at this fucking Thai restaurant.
That's dope.
And just talk about records, you know? And like we're doing right now. But man, you know, ODB's son is like with them now, performing with them, man.
Really?
So like, what was ODB like? Because I didn't meet him, which I met Method, I met everybody else. But
so I remember it was right after we were down in LA, we were doing free Monday nights at the Troubadour at this time. And they had just done the Grammy Awards, and it was for a song, Ghetto Superstar. And they did the Grammys, and it was like 2 nights before, and I was going to the liquor store to go buy some 40s, because we were all about 40s back in the day. 40s and blunts, just like Wu-Tang, right?
I was Red Dog with that the other day, our mutual friend.
Yeah, dude. And so we're going in there, and lo and behold, who's in the liquor locker? You know the liquor locker, remember that place?
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I roll up in the liquor locker. I'm like, oh shit, that's Old Dirty Bastard right there. Oh my God. I'm like, Jerry, check it out. And so I rolled up. I was like, I got to go introduce myself. And I roll up on him, go to like shake his hand. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? I'm Jacoby from Papa. And he was like, hey, hold up, man. You want that back? He was like, he didn't want no part of what I was coming with. You know, and I was like,
oh man, that's fucking crazy, right?
I kind of stepped back, and I was looking at him. I'm like, oh shit, he's wearing the same clothes 2 days later that he was just at the Grammys in. He's been going on, you know. I gotta add this. Okay, maybe he's like
pretty gacked out, man, or something. He's
probably partying a little bit, you know. So I eased back. I was like, well, hey man, I'm a huge fan. I love what you do. You know, I'm leaving the store, and I'm just like, all right, dude, much respect, dude. I love you. And he's looking at me like, yeah, all right. You know, and it was just one of those moments where, you know, I was super starstruck, man, because this was so influential. Like, this was an album, like, I would play one side of the cassette, and then I would flip it over and play the other side of the cassette, and then flip it over again. And I wore this thing out, you know. So now I got it on vinyl. I got it on download. I got it on.
That's a great record, isn't it, man? Like, you know, and it's crazy. You know, Method.
I need to go get a tattoo. I need to get a Wu tat, dude. That's what I need, and that's what I need. Let me get a Wu tat.
You know, they were just such an important band, and you know, they did Farm Club like NWA did. Like, you know, remember Farm Club? Of course, they that was their first actual reunion there. You know, and but that record's so great. And Method and Redman, man, you know, like those guys who when they were doing shit, you know, like
I did the Blackout albums. Blackout is like ridiculous, man. I love that album.
You know, I was there at that fucking video shoot for Thong Song with Cisco, and I was like fucking hanging out with Method and Redman. It was just the funniest fucking day. I mean, you know. Anyway, though, but those guys are.
That thong. Oh man, I could sing some Cisco, baby.
You gotta love it, man.
So they make the booty go. Oh, sorry, man. You got me started on Cisco now.
All different styles of music. That's the best, isn't it? Like, that's what, for me, music's everything. What is the next record do you want to?
Okay, next one. I don't have it on vinyl, but this album, Mechanical Animals. Yeah, by Marilyn Manson. I remember I liked what he was doing. You know, it was aggressive, it was pissed off, it was a middle finger to everybody. But then when he came with Mechanical Animals and dropped that track Dope Show,
show, man. Yeah.
I was just, I'm like, hold on, what's going on here? This dude D Sardi
Yeah.
produced the album. He
Hey,
produced
Jordan, man, he's a great dude. He was in a band called Bark Market, man. And
yeah, Bark Market was sick, dude.
it was great.
You like Bark Market?
Yeah, I do, and I love Sardi, man. Like he actually lives a mile from here, and I lost. He was like, him and his wife were like, dude, come over our house, and then like my phone didn't save their number, but they're close.
Oh man,
I
love Bark Market. Bark Market was another one of those bands too. For Jerry and I, we were just like, oh, listen to this, how it drops. But yeah, Mechanical Animals, man. When Marilyn came back and he had this like amorphic suit where he was like cross blending the sexuality and like he was an alien, and just the songwriting on that album is just, it's so good. I mean, you go to it and it's like you got the dope show Rock is Dead. That's like just I want to disappear. I don't like the drugs, but the drugs like me.
It's like me, dude. You know what's funny? He and I talked about like that, and that record, obviously, like the artwork and everything about it is such a tribute to Bowie's Diamond Dogs.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah,
I didn't know it at the time. And then I went back and discovered that.
Isn't that cool? And like Bowie's Diamond Dogs record, he had that guy Hart, who did like the album cover for It's Only Rock and Roll.
Yeah,
Bowie was so funny. Mick Jagger told him he was going to use that guy to do the cover for It's Only Rock and Roll, and then Bowie stole him and then just did it for Diamond Dogs. And like, kind of, you just got to, you got to love Bowie for that. But I got to say that it was his tribute to that androgyny and the idea that, when Diamond Dogs came out, the actual Bowie as a dog had a penis, but the record company airbrushed it out.
Oh man,
they were like, "Oh, you can't put that on the cover," And that was just, as brilliant as that album was, a rebel. I mean, like he tried to get the rights to 1984. Because that's what the album was really going to be. George Orwell's widow wasn't having it, and right. But that Manson album is so great, man.
It's ridiculous, man, and just lyrically. Coma White as well as another one of those songs that's just like so good. And I remember at this point in my life I was going hard, and so this was one of my party records, and I like to mix a lot of kind of things up, drinking and this and that and the other thing, and just get loopy, and this album was just like it was a fun one. I look back, I got to go back and listen to these again, and because it's been a minute since I've listened to Mechanical Animals, but it's like one of my favorite albums, so I got to pull this thing out and vibe on it again and see where it takes me, because it's trippy how like you'll love something at some point, and then you'll and then you'll listen to it 10 years later and you're like, what did I love about this? Or you discover another level of the reasons why you love it.
Exactly. And that's the really crazy thing about it, which is cool. My Manson thing is, I thanked him for not putting me in his book, Long Hard Road Out of Hell. Years ago, and he goes to me, I didn't think your bosses would appreciate it. And
right.
But like, of course, years later, I could own, the insanity. And I remember it's in that book, Louder Than Hell, the oral history of heavy metal. And it's also in my book. The famous line of Marilyn looking at me and going, Pinfield, you scare us. Which was the funniest thing. I mean, hey, you got to be going hard. Like that's one of the lines I'll just never forget from our insanity. But I mean, it's because we took everything to extremes, and being sober is the most important thing in the world, staying alive, being there for the people you love. But we were wild, and look, man, I mean, I only make apologies for anyone that I happen to disappoint. But in general, we were living that madness, you know what I mean? Right? I think, you make amends and you keep on going, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's been a interesting, in my career as well as yours, right? Where it's like you have one version of yourself, and then eventually that person just dies out, right? And there's a new version of ourselves reborn. But every once in a while, that old version of ourselves is just dying to get out.
Oh yeah.
So it's
because like people in recovery know that it's a lifelong fight, and we do it every day. But the great thing is, I mean, we're here to fight through another day, which is the most beautiful thing in the world. And I can be here, and we can be here for the people we love, like, man, everybody. Hey, so what else we got? Like, we got another record coming up, or
we got another record coming up. Oh, all right, cool. We'll go over this next one. Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf.
Man. Songs for the Deaf is so great, man.
It's right? It's just like, from the moment I heard it, I was like, and who's playing drums on this record? Dave Grohl. And it's funny. I went for a run. That's one of the things I do while I'm home, cooped up. I'm like, I got to go outside and go for a run. I go on this trail, nobody's on it, and I'll just vibe on some music sometimes. Lately, I've been going without music, trying to like stay self-motivated without music. But today I was like, you know what? I got to jump into one of these iconic records. And so I put on Songs for the Deaf. And it's so funny, right? Because early in the record, they're like, Songs for the Deaf. You can't even hear it. And I just thought I was special because I could hear what they were playing. And it's an amazing record, man. And just the voices on it, it's like, not only do you have Nick Oliveri throwing it down, you got Mark again, and then you got Josh, and it's just, and Dave Grohl on the drums.
Yeah, I mean, what a lineup, man. Like in Lanigan, what a fucking talent, man. Like that guy is so fucking, so soulful. You know what I mean? I love him.
I remember seeing him.
He got me through a rough day in Seattle. He got me through a rough day in Seattle, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he was the guy that I reached out to, years ago, but I'm grateful for those friendships, man. We have to, get through those fucking crazy ass times, man.
It's trippy. It's trippy talking with you, right? Because it's like, I'm like talking about these iconic records that I looked at, as just this young kid that was a fan. And you at that time were like living side by side with these guys. These guys are all your buddies. And it's cool to hear your kind of perspective on these albums that I love so much, because it's like, again, like you were one of those guys that was curating the rock culture for my generation to go to. You were showing us, hey, check out this new band, Screaming Trees, and I remember seeing them live and just going, these guys are sick. And then, hearing years later, Mark Lanigan on the Queens of the Stone Age record. And it just was such I think, obviously Rated R, that album as well.
That's great too. Feel good. Yeah. The Lost Art of Secret and like the feel good hit of the summer.
Yeah.
Your sense of humor is so cool too. Like that's the amazing thing. What was great was, them Crooked Vultures with like Josh and Dave and John Paul.
Yeah.
Doing that thing, man. That was really cool thing as well. But Queens are a great band, and I'm sorry that weird thing happened with Josh, but like I'm hoping that people will like look past that shit. You know what I mean? The thing with the camera and that woman, like at a show. A lot of people might have forgot about it, but
I don't even know what you're talking about. Don't even worry about it.
Josh. I love like those guys are fucking
sick,
incredible, and he's just, he's a real deal. So yeah,
he's got such a unique like perspective of just language, I guess curiosity in music, and a certain amount of fearlessness, and then a sarcastic element to what he does that's just like cooks up this stew of its own, man. And yeah, dude, I love it.
If you go online, Jacoby, he did Queens did a cover of Elliott Smith's Christian Brothers. Man, it's like,
oh, what's up?
Oh, it's so cool.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, Christian Brothers, man. It was a B-side, and it was just so friggin' cool, man. Hey, are there any other records on our list?
Because bro, the last one is um 9 Inch Nails, and
Oh,
this album with Teeth.
dude, it's one of the best albums. That's might be my favorite 9 Inch Nails album. You know,
It is mine.
Downward Spiral and Pretty Hate Machine. That record is like in my recurring playlist all the time. Tell me why,
Yeah.
man.
I've been a fan of 9 Inch Nails since the beginning, and I've grown with them, right? And this album just came at a point in time in my life when I was, again, like I keep bringing it back and around, like to my struggle with sobriety, and this album, it just spoke to me on every level. This was, I believe, the first record that Trent did,
With
clean and sober.
Yeah, with Atticus
And
Ross. And God, man, like that song "Love Is Not Enough." Like I love that. Like he goes,
every
"Hey,
song
you got
on this.
nothing to do to show." No, I didn't think so. It's like
Yep.
it's got so much attitude. It's great. The whole record's amazing.
Everything, man. You know what you sorry.
Don't
You know what you are.
You are.
You know what you are.
So great, man.
It's
It's like opening the album with a quiet song like "All the Love in the World" is so cool because it's still setting you up for the rest of the record.
Oh yeah, because track 2, and you know what? It's funny, man. Guess who's playing drums on this fucking record? Dave Grohl again.
Yeah, our brother. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean the guy.
Yeah, dude.
He's a machine, man. Like he's I mean, Taylor is the only guy who could be in the Foo Fighters because he's the only guy who can fucking shred like that.
Bash.
Like, you know what I mean? Those guys are like
bashes.
And
I will tell you this.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. Our drummer Tony Palermo.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll be watching videos of Tony, and I'm like, dude, this dude, he's a good drummer, dude. He's like, we like to say the joke is he growls hard. He growls hard.
That's great, man.
He growls hard, dude.
Yeah.
Tony Palermo growls hard. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Taylor, I mean, just what a fantastic personality. And even better.
He and I used to rage when he was in Alanis Morissette's band.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And we just, stayed friends, and I love him. But I got to say, fucking watching your last 2 tours, man, I got to tell you, man, I was blown away, man. You like shine the light in so many ways for the love of rock and being sober and saying, I can even be better than I ever was. And better than you live. Then you just kill it. So you did another song too on that last tour. What did you like? Remember you and I were trying to figure out what song you should do for England.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Oh man. Well, sorry. What was the last thing you said?
Remember, like you and I were talking, like, man, what would be a cool song for you to do on the English tour? Because you'd done the year before. So what did you decide to do?
So we were doing song 2 for a while, and then the unfortunate passing, we lost another great icon of rock music, electronic music, Keith Flint from The Prodigy.
Oh man.
And we were asked, we were called, no, I was texted by this guy named Gary Spivak, and
Gary's one of the greats, man. I love Gary Spivak.
Yeah, man. He texted me, he's like, we lost Keith, and he's like, you're the first person I want to reach out to and ask if you can come fill the slot on the show. And I was just like, I hit him back. I'm like, I would love to do that. He's like, can you guys play Firestarter? He asked me personally, he's like, can you guys work up a rendition of Firestarter? And I was like, oh fuck, of course, dude.
Yeah.
I would. It's one of my favorite songs, in memory of the iconic, right?
Yeah, and Fat of the Land album was so fucking great. And
dude, what a banger.
Breathe is like my favorite on that record. I love Breathe. And shit like Poison.
Yep.
And there was a band called Pop Will Eat Itself, who I loved so much.
Yeah, I remember Pop Will Eat Itself.
Yeah, they were. I love those guys. They were like my buddies and my great friends from, you know, like Birmingham, and of course, you know, Clint Mansell went on to do like all the music for all the Darren Aronofsky films. He did Pi, Requiem for a Dream, like the
Dude, I love those films.
You know, and they did a duet with the Prodigy on the album that won music for the Jilted generation called "Fuck Them and Their Law."
Dude, dude,
Yeah,
there's two I gotta check out now.
Them and Their Law. It's so good, you know.
Cool.
Really cool stuff, man. You know.
Yeah, and so we went out on that UK tour, and it was leading up to we had a headlining tour. It was leading up to go perform in America it was Sonic Temple, the first year they did Sonic Temple, and we did Firestarter every night, and it was just for us just a great way to honor, you know, the legacy of Keith Flint and what he brought, and how his music affected us, and we were fans, you know, and so we wanted to celebrate his life. And it was almost like, you know, we were having that conversation about what song should we do, and then the universe said, here's the song you should do.
Here's the song you should do, which is great, man. You know.
Yeah, man. I love the Prodigy, and
they were such an explosive band. You know, Liam. You know, those guys were so great. And Fat of the Land, man. You know, it's it's in the other room on a fucking. They gave me a platinum record for it in the other room. I'm pretty fucking. You know, I was very grateful. You know, but you know, for being like, because you remember when we debuted "Smack My Bitch Up" and it had to be like midnight. And like we had to give a disclaimer, and
yes,
but that video was so cool, and it was so.
Oh man,
I love anytime we push the envelope, man. I was so fucking great.
Yeah, dude, Jonas Åkerlund nailed it with that video. Like that's I think in music videos, that is one of the most iconic music videos in my opinion.
Yeah,
done
it's up there with like, you know, Just from Radiohead, the one like where the guy's laying on the sidewalk. And it's got subtitles. That's you know, Twilight Zone type kind of cool Black Mirror. You know what I mean? Like it was very, very, you know, and I like stuff. You know, obviously, you know, we love when they do that. But yeah, I'm so glad you did that, man. You know, did you ever like play with the Prodigy guys on some?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did in Germany, Rock am Ring, Rock am Park, and I believe it was possibly Download Festival, and we were same stage, Prodigy, you know, we were a couple bands earlier, and my son Mikhail was out on tour with me, and my friend Herman, the drums and guitar, and the dudes in Prodigy signed a guitar for my son that night. We watched them from
that is so cool, man. You know,
it was so sick, man. That was like, and we have fond memories of that. Me and my boy Mikhail, we laugh about that. We're like, man, remember that time we saw Prodigy in Germany? That was sick.
You know, I mean, isn't that like the thing right now with what we're going through, Jacoby? It's like, I think about like those family moments, you know, and I think about, you know, when I'm there with like my daughter Jessica and, you know, like I'm getting ready to introduce bands, and me and Sharon Osbourne are going on stage to introduce Korn. But like before that, how fucking cool it was that Ad Rock and Kathleen Hanna were like watching my daughter while I was like doing shit, you know, out in the beach. Like, just like, you know, music community, man. You know, we love each other, and we, you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I gotta tell you, man, I know they want us to rap, but I'm really happy you did this with me today. You know, I lost my old sponsor yesterday. I've lost 2 friends. I've been very, very, you know, I'm getting through it, man. Like you have to, you know, and you have to keep fighting. And I mean, my friends, my family, there's so many reasons to like take care of yourself and fight through. And I hope everybody watching us knows that like they've got to do what they have to do to stay healthy. I mean, so fucking, you know,
it is, and man.
We're being real. That's what we do. You know what I mean? It's not
what's up.
You know, but I want you to know, man, I love you, and I appreciate you doing the show. So what's next, Jacoby? When this all ends, I mean, are you gonna like reset, do a tour? What's gonna happen right after that?
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on this, man. And you know, I value our friendship 100%, dude.
Love you, dude.
From the top down, you know,
Yeah.
all of it. But as far as like for me, like once we get out of this quarantine, you know, I'm going to be writing some music while I'm in this quarantine as well, you know, so I think that's important, and capturing, you know, this time I have on my hands to be creative. But we had a tour we were supposed to be out on with Five Finger Death Punch and I Prevail and Ice Nine Kills. We're supposed to be out on that. Actually, today or tomorrow would be the first day of the tour. It got postponed. It's looking like that's going to be in October. And so we're just kind of shifting everything we have until later on in the year. And you know, we just inked a new record deal, and so we're excited about that evolution in our career and where that's taking us. And yeah, man, it's a very exciting time, but also a very volatile time, and a time for us to really take a moment and try to learn something about not only ourselves, about how we interact with the world, how we support each other. And yeah, it's a really interesting time. But the beautiful thing is right now, there's a lot of people getting outside of themselves and wanting to put others before themselves. And I hear stories about that. And that's really inspiring. That says a lot about who we are as people, and the capacity of humanity. And, you know, when our back's against the wall, you know, we got to unite, man. We got to support each other. We got to look out for each other. We got to put our brothers and sisters before our own selves. You know, I think that's when we have the biggest advances in society, and also on a personal level, you know?
Yeah, it really helps me. I think the most important thing is being of service, you know, and helping.
Yeah.
You know, and loving, you know, like just like letting everyone that you really love and care about, whether it's your fans or your family or your friend, just letting them know how much you love and appreciate them in times like these, man.
Totally. Totally.
We don't know what tomorrow will bring, but we you know, we have to, like, you know, just fight through it and stay strong, you know?
Hey, but I have a pretty good idea of what tomorrow's going to bring. I think it's kind of, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'll be cooped up in my house.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a run.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to some friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some housework.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat some food. And then, you know, but you never know. Like you said, you just never know.
And let's thank our brother, Renee Mata, who we love, you know.
Yeah, we love you, Renee, dude. Thanks for hooking us up years ago, man.
And Chris Trevero and, you know, and Carrie and Linda and
we appreciate
Aaron and all the crew from We Are Here. You know, there's just such a great crew of people, you know, and I love that what we're doing, because I think it's just so important, man, to, in these times, to think about and remember everyone and everything that's important to you, you know, and and it's a good, you know what, and just keep a fucking smile on our faces, man.
That's right, man.
Keep on going. You know.
After this, I'm gonna call my mom, and then I'm gonna call a friend of mine, Corey Korleski, who I got to get on FaceTime with him and check in with him, because we haven't talked in a little while. So there's a couple people I'm like, you know what, they're on my list. I got to reach out to them, see how they're doing, send some love, and you know, just I think kind of going through my cell and going, man, who have I not talked to in a while that, you know, I guess I need to check up on them and see how they're doing, you know? So I think that's important.
No, it really is. And I just want to make a mention that my new logo for the show is from my friend Cliff Galbraith, who's been my buddy for years. You know, he did comic books like Rat Bastard. He
sick.
Shirts in the 80s, there were the Saurus shirts with the definition, and like shirts that come, you know, like Rockosaurus, like whatever, like King Saurus. He created all that. And he's sick. Like one of my oldest best friends, man. We've been talking every day through this, and he created the logo for In a Lonely Place as a brother, because he knew that I would kind of dig that 60s looking, like
that's your vibe, baby,
man, you know. But anyway, Jacoby, thank you so much for doing this, man. And I love you, and, you know, thank you, man, for like you just keep on soldiering on, and like, and thank you to all your fans who are watching us.
Man.
I hope they're all safe and sound and like, you know, and doing the best they can through all of this. Cause there's,
Yeah.
we don't have a choice. And, you know, life is a beautiful thing, and I'm grateful we're still here, man. You know, it's a really,
man, brother. Well, you know, said, dude.
You know, it really is. You know, like even in the worst moments, every day above ground is a good day. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I love you, brother, and thank you so much for doing it. Look at that cat. That's
cool, Harry.
Like one of those hairless cats, or
You know, the hairless cat named Harry.
You know, it's funny. Maynard from Tool had 2 of them, and I was over his house in Jerome, Arizona, and he told me later that he gave one to Trent. He goes, I gave the bad one to Trent. I go, it's so fucking funny. Oh man,
man.
It's weird when you hold them; they're so warm, like right.
It's like holding a freshly shorn ball bag, Matt.
Yeah, man. That's how like at Maynard's house. That's where I got to know hairless cats. You know. Anyway, listen, I love you, man. Jacoby, take care, all right, brother?
Hell yeah, you too, man. Let's talk soon, Matt.
In a Lonely Place. And it's tip of the hat to my like old friend from New Jersey, Pat Denizio from the Smithereens, who wrote that song, and we lost him a few years ago. But hey, man, he'd be really happy, and I just want you to know, like for the folks that we are here, we're really happy to have you. Much love to you, Jacoby.
Appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon, Matt.
Just went on. We went on and on, but man, you know what? I have nothing else to fucking do, so it's good.
That's what's up, dude.
I loved hanging with you, man. I'll see you soon, Jacoby. Thank you, and I love you.
See you soon, Matt. Love you, brother.
All right, bye-bye.